Hello everyone, this week we will be preparing our first writing assignment. So this PowerPoint will cover information on writing assignments, and also we'll go into some detail about this week's individual writing assignments. So in addition to this writing assignment, there is also another assignment in the module that says, who do you work for? This is set up kind of like a quiz, but it's not really. You are going to give me the information of who you work for. So you're going to create a fictitious law firm and an attorney that you are going to work for. Be creative. Doesn't have to be serious. Doesn't have to be a real attorney. Just use someone else's name. It cannot be your name. You can't sign your name to these motions. So what you will need is the name of the firm, name of the attorney who's going to represent Nicole, full address. It doesn't have to be a real address. It can be made up. But it has to be local, has to be here in Albuquerque. Phone number, fax, and email address. You will use this information for every motion you create in this class. So you're going to fill it in here in this assignment, and then you're also going to use it for your writing assignment, and I'll show you where that information will go in just a second. So writing assignments for this class follow my instructions only, okay? You've probably noticed that if you've had a class with Renee and Di and me, we're all different. So especially with our briefs, we all have our own way of doing it, same with motions. So attorneys are the same way. They have their own way of doing things. So what I teach you in this class, you can't say, oh, my instructor said to do it this way. No, they're going to have you do it the way they want it, and for the purpose of this class, I'm going to have you do it the way that I want it. So just please follow my format and follow my instructions only. A lot of you work in law firms and you have your own way of doing your entries, so don't submit it that way. Submit it the way that I'm asking you to. It makes it easier on me. Okay? A rubric is included with every assignment, and I'm going to touch on every area of the rubric for these assignments so that you get an idea of what I'm looking for. So a motion. What is a motion? It's also known as a pleading. I'll refer to it as either one. But a motion is something that is filed with the court. You are either asking the court for something or you're notifying the court of something. So for example, a motion to continue. You're asking the court to continue the court date because you're not ready to go to trial. Okay? A motion to suppress, you're asking the court to suppress certain evidence from being allowed at trial. So these are all things that are drafted by you, reviewed and signed by your attorney, filed with the court. You can't just call the court and say, hey, I'm going to be representing this client. You can't do that. It's got to be in writing and it's got to be filed with the court. I am very generous with my instructions. So this is the exact format that I am looking for, okay? I'm going to leave it on the screen for a little bit so you can take a picture or do what you need to do, but this is the format that you should be using for every motion that you submit in this class. And I want you to be very careful and pay attention to the details because there's no reason that you don't get this right, okay? So I'm going to go step by step and show you exactly the portions and what should be filled in there, okay? So if you notice here, body of the motion goes here. So at the beginning of every motion, you'll have this, and at the bottom of every motion, you'll have this, okay? So for example, this is the caption. So when the rubric is referring to a caption, this is what it is. It should be in this order: State of New Mexico, County of Bernalillo, 2nd Judicial District. Okay, that order, all capitalized. Below that, State of New Mexico, comma, all capitals, plaintiff, comma, a V, not a VS, just a V, name of client, so you'll put Nicole's name there, comma, defendant, period. Okay, off to the side here, you have the case number. I gave you the case number in Discovery last week, so you should have that. So fill that information in there. Then down here, name of the motion. With every motion that you create, you'll just change that out, but it will stay capitalized, bold, and underlined. Okay, so this week it will be entry of appearance. That's the name of the motion. Then at the bottom is a signature block. So respectfully submitted, your attorney will sign here. You will type in your lawyer's name. You'll type in the law firm. Attorney for defendant. You're going to leave that just as it is, so don't put in leave there. I'm just giving you a hint that you need to leave this sentence exactly as it is. But you'll need to change the address, so put in the full address, city, zip, state, phone number, fax, and email. Okay, this is the signature block. Make sure it's aligned correctly, properly, that it looks good. This is the certificate of service. If you've taken civil litigation, you might have the certificate of service on a page all by itself. You may have the certificate of service that goes across the entire page. We are not doing that for criminal. It is off to the left here. It's aligned, and this is what we have. I certify that on, and you fill in the day of the month, a true copy of this name of motion, so you'll type in entry appearance, was sent to the office of the district attorney. So don't forget to change this out every motion that you do, even though you're going to use the same, like I say, if you create this document and leave it exactly as it is and save it, every time that you need to create a new one, you just pull it up again and you fill in the information. But don't forget to change this out. A lot of times students will submit motion to suppress and it says entry of appearance. So just remember to change that. Your attorney will sign here. You'll type his name, his or her name here, and you'll leave this attorney for defendant. So take that leave out. So these two will go on the bottom of every motion. Okay, so the caption on the top, certificate of service, and signature block at the bottom of every motion. Okay, you'll see something that says appropriate format for all motions. Within the body of the motion, the very first sentence should be indented and should say comes now in capital letters. Okay, when you start looking for examples of this motion, you will see how all this fits together. So it'll say something like comes now, the attorney's name on behalf of client Nicole Mannion, or representing or by and through her attorney of record, something like that. There's a million different ways to do it, but you'll find you'll find the right format that you want to use. Okay, but comes now, name of attorney, and name of client should all be at the beginning of every motion. The entry of appearance, what it is it notifies the court that your attorney is representing Nicole. So your attorney becomes the attorney of record. So once this piece of paper is filed, the court knows who's representing Nicole. The DA's office gets a copy of this, and they know that you're the attorney they need to talk to. So discovery starts coming your way. They start calling, asking if you want to set up interviews. Plea negotiations start right away. So everything gets started once this entry of appearance is filed. The content of an entry of appearance is no more than one page. If you have an entry of appearance and it's more than a page, you need to fix it. There is no way this should be more than a page. So the actual content of this motion is super simple. It's a couple sentences, a handful of sentences at the most, but it's very straightforward and very, I don't want to say easy. Students say don't say easy. But it's just a very simple assignment, like I said, one page. Additional information you should know. Rule requirements. On the rubric, it says rule requirements, and it says form of papers. You will need to look for this rule called form of papers. You need to look in the criminal rules, okay? Make sure it's criminal, not civil, because they're completely different. Make sure, and I know you know the difference to look in criminal and civil, but when you're looking for them in one source, sometimes it takes you to the civil. So just make sure you're looking for the right one, and that's what it's called, form of papers. So look for that rule. That rule will tell you how to do the page numbers, what the margin setting should be, what the spacing should be, font size, so all of that stuff, and it's super important because that's formatting for your assignment. So the courts can absolutely reject this pleading if it doesn't fit the form of papers. Okay, so look for that rule and follow that. Electronic signature. You will need to research what an electronic signature looks like if you don't already know. The district court has a lot of information on that. on their website. You don't even have to look in the statutes, but it'll tell you what an electronic signature should look like, and that's how these are signed. We are finally e-filing in criminal court. It's been about a year, a little over a year, but it's taken us a while for criminal to get up to speed. Don't use a form. If you find a form in the statutes, it's not for second judicial, it's not for district court, it's not what we're looking for. There are civil forms in there, there are magistrate forms in there for entry of appearance, but it's not the same. So there's no form to follow for this. The best thing I can suggest is use Google to look for an example of a New Mexico entry of appearance. And once you find that, you should be able to just follow it. Like I said, it's a very short, the wording is very short. So just remember, this goes at the top of every motion, and this goes at the bottom. Okay, so because this assignment is so short, this will all be on one page. But when you have the longer assignments, you'll have the caption at the top and then the other two at the very bottom. Okay, so all put together, this is what it's going to look like. It'll say entry of appearance here, indented comes now, and then you'll fill in that body of the motion. Okay, please make sure you review the form of papers. I covered all parts of the rubric in this PowerPoint. If you have any questions, please ask me. I am here to help you. I can't stress enough that if we were in a face-to-face class, you would ask. I have lines of students at the end of every class asking just simple things like, is this right, or does this look right? Do I have the right rule? Do I have the right case? Do I have the right whatever? And it's really simple to ask. So if you have a question, ask me. Just because it's online doesn't mean that you should be left in the dark or confused. So please reach out. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good week and best of luck on this assignment.